Yeah, he's moving it to this afternoon for you.
Yeah, he did. But I'm talking about, I guess, even after we go through all this presentations and stuff like that,
Uh-huh.
going around who we want to kind of use or what have you. I guess I need to give it to you
Okay.
around next week. I have to call, I guess, when I get maybe
Okay.
Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. Try to schedule something with you.
Okay.
So after we go through the RFP stuff, and I go back
Uh-huh.
and forth with my work
Sounds good.
jobs with the club and stuff like that. So,
Okay,
all
man.
right, but I'll schedule something.
All right, I'm done
Very
going to the
good.
bathroom. You can have me.
All right. Let's put you right back around. Let's put that way on your back. There you go.
We're ready? I'm not sure they can hear me. Thanks. I have no idea what these slides say. I've All right, this is like old home week. Am I doing that or are you doing that? Okay. All right, well, thank you. Old faces. So as of last week, if most of you haven't heard, I've officially been fired as the GVP of the West, which, yeah, there's a lot of those people right now. We'll get into a little bit of what went on, where we are as a company. Hopefully I'll answer a lot of questions. If not, we'll take questions afterwards, and I promise you I'll get you the answers back. I kind of want to bring you up to speed with where everything is. It's going to be Brad-like. It's going to be all over the place. It's going to be improv, a lot of it. I saw these slides 2 days ago. It's going to be a little ad hoc, so don't feel like you're missing out. I'm trying to get as much as I can to you as quickly as possible. First and foremost, I want to personally thank, my direct reports over the last 7 months have stepped up and done my job and theirs. And it's been a remarkable story that I've been able to go out and help Dave and Matt kind of on the West to help out. But you guys have continued to push, and I'm incredibly proud and thankful for them and you guys, because I wouldn't be able to stand here today and have helped them and be where we are if you guys weren't who you were. So I do appreciate that. It is not left unknown, trust me. So let's get started. So status. Most of you have seen this. Why this chart is important is this is how Brad gets paid. That was a joke, okay? Jeez, we're going to have to get there, folks. This chart is what every Stewart associate is being focused on. I think it's been in the past that we have never really had a focus point at Stewart for more than a week or more than a month. And as the CEO, as we start to become different and focused and strategic, this was our first year attempt at putting them out. I think we hit it 50%, and we got 50% of it wrong. We will change that. Next year it'll get better. But a lot of this is really helping to focus the story. Let me tell you what the story is. The story is customers are first. We need to focus on this. This is a relationship business. If we just did this for title and escrow, that's a commodity business, and we're not going to separate ourselves. Okay? So everything up here is about the relationship Stewart has with its customers and how we can get better at that. Everything. I'm not going to go in detail on this because I hope you and your managers are talking about this, but really where this is the metrics underlying at the bottom of this and how we play every one of these. Onboarding associates, Office 2.0, Stewart Access, network security, hiring the right people, income growth, expense control. This team is one of the few teams that impacts every one of those columns. Now that's a huge burden, but it's also pretty cool. And most of what you're going to see today is going to align to this in some way. So if you're going to judge it on its first, probably a B minus, C plus, but for its intent, it's an A plus, because we can start talking about these things, okay? Do I double click this or what am I doing wrong? See, this is why I got fired. This is our version. It wasn't as pretty. Matt has a lot more resources than me. But really what we try to do is align and get more down into the weeds so you can see directly where you fit. This has changed a bunch since we created it, but we'll roll with it more and more, okay? So I just want you to always keep this in front of you, because this scorecard and the metrics that are on the dashboard, I'm going to tell you, that is how I rate myself at the end of the year when I do my performance review with the boss. I take all those metrics, I do the compilation, and that's the quantitative part of my personal metrics to the boss. Okay? So every metric under here, I claim. It's important. So what did I learn on the West? I learned on the West that we have a long way to go. We have a great face of Stewart that, and I'm not going to tell a lot of you this, that is supported in multiple different ways with different tools and different everything, right? None of those people know how we got there. They just want to do their job well. So let me tell you, one of the things that I took out is they want to understand and they want solutions. And I will tell you, our biggest criticism that I have to me and all of us is we don't provide solutions. We provide a technology or something, but it's not a solution. So let me give you an example. There are tons of people out there that want integrations with LOSs. So what do? We sit down and we say, what do you want? Here's what it is. We've integrated it. That's not a solution to the business. They don't know how to use it. They don't know how to sell it. They don't know how to bring revenue in. And it may work technically, but it's not consumable. And so a lot of the great work that I already know is done, I'm out there going, we have that. We have that. We have that. And it's not that they don't want it. It's just it's not packaged in a way that they can use it. Or we don't think of that. So that's the number one thing I took away. The other thing I took away, and we'll get into this, is I'm going to all out right now tell you the last 3 months in the West and in Stewart have probably been the toughest 3 months Stewart has ever had in this journey. And so as we've moved and standardized and went to a new model, there are absolute people who are against it. And they have chosen in their God-given right to go work somewhere else. And what that brings is, that brings a little mass chaos to all of you. Because remember all those cylinders? You also are in all those cylinders for the associates. And so what I've asked this team to do, and a couple of teams really more than others, is really gets outside the process to help manage the chaos. And you guys have done a great job of that. What we're really good is bringing a person at a time into Stewart. What we're really not that good in, and I don't want to be really that good at it, is bringing 100 people at a time into Stewart. We have hired probably 30 new people in Phoenix market. We have a new leader, Dylan King. Dylan came from Chicago Title. He's standardized. We have a complete new leadership in Phoenix. We have a complete new leadership team in the SeaTac area, Seattle, Tacoma, kind of the Puget Sound. Carl Jorgensen Carl used to work for Stewart years and years ago, came back over, has started a strong team. Actually, Carl has rebuilt and is beating budget now in less than 2 months as a new team. We just hired, you'll see it this week, gentleman Jesse, wish I could remember his last name, who's going to take over Portland, Vancouver area, brand new outside leadership. What I will tell you is everybody who's coming into Stewart is absolutely stoked about what we're doing and where we're going. So it's a little bit about our journey a couple years ago. It's just the journey is continuing. Okay? There is chaos. You guys are a part of it. I can't tell you how much field support, PC, all those people have given up to make us successful, but we're really changing the West. For those of you who don't know, because you're too busy, Mike Tafoya joined 2 weeks ago. Mike took over the GVP spot in the West. Mike was one of the original funders, founders, and developers of Title 365. Used his own money to start a title company, sold it to NationStar. Mike is an incredible technology enabler, title, sales on the West Coast. And in the West, our model's much different. In the West, we're getting beat because the competitors are sales-oriented, not title and escrow-oriented. Okay? So if you go to a division president in any of our competition, our equivalent roles, they're the top salesperson. They're not the top escrow person. Stewart's model doesn't work, and we're changing that in the West. We still need good title, good escrow, good everything, but those people can't compete against the hunters of the world. Here's a good example. A single person who runs one of our major competitors in Los Angeles brings in about $25 million in revenue himself. California brings in $25 million for Stewart. So we're really understanding, what I understood about it is there is not one model for all. And that's troubling to all of you guys because you want the standards, but we are going to have to look at this in a different angle. We're set up for success. 6-9 months to now, huge success. Really tough right now. So I could answer a lot of questions on the West, but I'm not there anymore. And now my name's being used for all reasons why we're on the shape we are. So Mike is about 6 months of me as the excuse, and then he gets to have his own. Anyway, I hope to bring Mike around to visit with you guys. Mike has an incredible technology enablement mind in the title space, and he will be someone I'd lean on tremendously for where we need to go. I could just take this to one line. It's revenue right now, folks. We have to focus on revenue. If you saw the latest earnings report, we went down. We stayed about even on new orders from last year. As the market went up, all our competitors grew. Every competitor grew market share except us. That's not good. Operationally efficient, we are. We're getting better at it. We are because what we've done over the last 4 years is why we beat first quarter. We beat first quarter by 85 cents EPS. That's huge. Now our goal is don't lose it and gain on it, right? And it's a revenue play, not an expense play. We are 100%. We've got to figure out the revenue play. So everything we do is about how we get more revenue. Ask the question, why are we doing this? If it isn't revenue, why are we doing this? Right? This is a pretty incredible list because I'll tell you 2 years ago, it would have been 200 things on that piece of paper. This is pretty focused, right? I'm going to go through a couple of these, but I think everybody's got a piece in something here. And what I want to do is kind of run the highlights of the big ones. So no charts here. Everybody see the memo this week? Was it Tuesday? I forget. Did we get it around? So we have made a strategic directional change in Office 2.0. We are going to bifurcate the work. So title and policy is going to happen in the TEF Center. Escrow is going to happen in the branches. We're going to move escrow processing back to the branches. We just have not been able to put in a process that is really embraced to help the customer experience, and our customer experience has been taking a hit for it. So what I like about Stewart is we listened, we heard from everybody, and we made a change. Okay? And so what that means is over the next 30 days to 45, we're going to start taking those offices that are in Office 2.0 today, the ones that we have, and we're going to start building the workflows that are more simple, because the workflow for escrow is not simple right now. We're going to simplify that, and we're going to move the escrow work back into the offices. Right? And we're doing that to increase the customer experience and give the stick back to the escrow officer as we roll out ResWare. ResWare is our platform, strategic platform. There is no question. We're not stopping that. Okay? So we got ahead of our skis. We're a little ambitious, which I'm kind of proud of because I don't think we were that ambitious on some things. So we pulled back a little bit. You're going to hear more about that next week as we solve it out. But that's where we are. So just think about it. Title policy happens in the back office. Escrow is going back to the branches. Simple as that. Okay? For one thing, customer experience. Stewart Access. While this looks, Stewart Access is highly dependent on a couple of things. It's highly dependent on our major TPS vendors, who happen to be our competitors, willingness and ability to help us integrate. I think we're better positioned we ever have before. Not that it hasn't been an uphill battle, but those numbers will catch up as we get SoftPro and RamQuest integrated with CPL and Jacket. And so it's behind, we know, but the two largest ones have yet to fully go. And so we do want to catch up. That is a CEO metric. That is a board metric. So this gets briefed every month. Okay? Oh, that's cute. I did not do that. Yeah, that was Mark's extent of Mark's PowerPoint skills, by the way, which are one step farther than I can do. But Ethan, please don't laugh. So CRM, everybody's heard, we've selected Microsoft CRM platform, Dynamics, and really focused on how do we get all the customers starting from a central point, do lead management, right? And how do we track leads and closures and targeted opportunities to become a hunter market? We are very good farmers. We know who our clients are. We go to them all the time. The problem is we got 98% of their wallet share. So how do we start targeting demographics, lenders, mid-tier lenders, other agents, so that we can start do that and we don't do it in a combined solid way? So for example, if somebody is chasing, we just got a very good national commercial deal, 45 offices, over $50 million in premiums, but it's in multiple locations. The problem is how do people today, knowing in our systems or knowing in the data, know that that's coming or who's working that client? And so it doesn't look like the person who lives in New York that wants to build commercial all across the U.S., who wants one experience, we don't do that very well. Or a builder that's a national builder, or lenders that have national footprints. And so what we're doing is CRM, standard tool, standard process, and how do we do lead management, and how do we start tracking those? The RFP is out to help us. We're going to use an integrator out of the box. And we'll start to migrate. This was put on hold a couple weeks, a little longer than we wanted for the right reasons. It's back on. But this is really going to be how we manage our customers going forward. Okay? And I think part of that is going to help us from one of the other big things is how do we have a common Stewart experience when you walk into an office? So more on that coming. There is a high-level plan. The RFP is not for the tool; it's for the integration services for the partner. Okay. I don't have the answers on what we're going to do in renewal. It's not going to be perfect. I can guarantee you. There are other systems out there. We're going to have to work through those because I know all of you are thinking about all that. So I got this picture last night, sometime after I got off the plane. I just said Motley Crue. But, what we're starting here, and my challenge still resides, and where we're going in the future, this is a core tool. This is a core piece of our infrastructure, and I still have a core goal that we can hook things up in less than 5 days. As Ethan but I do believe this is an enabler. And as we build solutions, not integrations, this is the tool that gets us there. Okay? This is a very cool project. So about a year ago, maybe it wasn't that long, CTS was working on 8 to 9 different TPSs, all paying transaction fees, all paying similar fees, everything going on, right? And I had asked Beth and Chris Richardson to kind of help us put together a plan to get to a single one. Since that time, along with us and Mark's team and the ops and the infrastructure and Chris's team, we've pulled that in, and Chris just got approval to actually pull it in another 2 quarters. So we'll be done halfway through next year. We'll have all those old legacy TPSs out of CTS. We won't have to support them anymore, and we'll be on one Resware. That's a huge deal. It's another way we don't have to have 100 systems supporting one thing. Looks like a lot of work. It is. A lot of people don't like change in the big lenders. They don't like to do it a different way. We're actually building relationships to make that better. This is a huge win on the app rationalization. It's a huge win on infrastructure and support because we have less things to support. It's a huge win in security because I don't have to do all these servers that are 100 years old that nobody knows how to log into. It's a huge win. So take great pride in this as part of that team. Apps rationalization. Here's what I love about this. We have people who care. This is working as a team. We're not going to, the 500,000, I tell you, I don't worry so much about that. I love the idea that we have a focus on this and we're outdoing ourselves and we keep going down and down. And in a couple years, if we do 50 a year, we're going to be down to where we can actually maintain and Gennady will sleep a little bit at night. This is the heart of some of our problems, right? Because we have so many of these legacy systems that we don't know how to get into or update and they go down. And unfortunately, there's business that goes through these. And so there's some revenue sources that every time I see an outage that refers to someone in the stack, I know we're in trouble. But this is huge. Amy's team and the network team and They have done a remarkable job, and you've heard a lot about this. Let me explain what the top 32 markets are. So we did at the beginning of the year, we said, what are our target markets that we need to make sure? I will tell you, a year and a half ago, and I could probably bring 6 or 8 people, our network and offices, they were not working. We had over 30 to 40% of them down in any one day. Remember the customer experience part? Our PCs, we had a year and a half ago, we had over 50% of our PC inventory was older than 5 years. We had infrastructure, we had data, we had everything that was, we took a vacation. We just took a vacation. And so we needed to speed up, and we needed focus. And so what we did was we said, what are the top markets for revenue? What are the top markets for growth? And Stewart agreed on those. And you'll hear the top 32. Let me explain how we got to that. So we have our top 30 markets today, and those top 30 markets are who's making the most money. That's just today. And then we had our top 30 markets, which were who is in the best market. So job growth, projections of real estate growth, where are the builders going. So we had Ted Jones's macroeconomic data, and we said it's partly that. And then what markets are we making money, or are we bringing in revenue but not making money, right? So it was a margin play. So we took that row of 30, and then we said, okay, and what offices bring more than $6 million in revenue? Because that's a fairly significant office that they bring $6 million in. Top line. We put those all together. We really wanted 30, but there was 2 more on the market, so we said 32 markets. It was easier than fighting about the 2. Because 32 to 33 was a big difference. And so what that means, it's 264, Amy, plus or minus? 264 offices out of 460 or 470 or wherever we are today. And we said, let's go after those. To date, what you guys don't know is one of our metrics is 97% network uptime in the offices at any time. And right now we're at 98%. That's huge. For those of you on the network team, you will attest your phone's not ringing as much anymore. So we're making great progress, but we're focused on that. Now what we have caused is a little bit of our office turnover has caused priorities to shift. I recognize that. I take full responsibility for that. But I also was there. And what you guys did to rearrange that and change focus meant everything to those people. For those of you who don't know, I've been in Austin the last 2.5 weeks. The amount of support, the amount of help, the amount of things that we're doing for them. We did it for Phoenix, we did it for Portland, we did it for SeaTac. They very much appreciate it. So teams that are on this recognize that we understand the chaos we've brought to you, but the amount of support and the amount of appreciation way outweighs that. And if they had enough time to tell you, they would. But honestly, most of those people haven't been home either. Okay? So this is going to continue. This is that part. Phoenix Data Center closed down. Don't even want to go what we found there. Don't even want to go there. Server upgrades. Theta shut down. I think. Nick says it is. It's getting there. We want to get in our data centers, right? So a lot of great work. This is the work nobody gets thanks for, right? That's unfortunate, but you don't, and you should, because this is making a big difference. Career framework, you heard me say a lot about it. Honestly, the reason why it's really important to me, for you guys who've been here with me since day one, this was one of the 3 things I promised you that I hadn't delivered. Was it perfect? Did we do it great? We did it great. It's not perfect. Sorry. We're going to make it better. But it's a step in the right direction. I think everybody needs to know that. And I'll take personal accountability. If we did something wrong, okay, let's make it better. But I wasn't going to stop until we had something in place. I think, we're going to continue to go through this. The other parts of the organization are now looking at it seriously. But I do appreciate us being first on this. And it does matter. We have openings. Lots of them. As of today, the referral program, everybody know the referral program? Yes or no? Yep. I'm going to bump it to $1,000. What, 3 years ago you hired somebody and now you want it, or what? if it's within this year, I'll take care of it. So when I did this in Phoenix, I had people in the parking lot asking people if they wanted to go in escrow. I want people that you want, and we're not finding it. This is a tough market in Houston. And these skills are tough to find because these are the skills that, that are in high demand. They really are. And we're a title company, not the sexiest business in the world. But I do want your connections. I do want people you want to work with. All right?
And we want them to have first choice.
Yeah.
Shot at them.
Right. So, if it was $500 that held you back, sorry, I'd have done it earlier. Hopefully that wasn't it. But, let's go find people, right? Then there's part of this, this whole framework thing that says people will have opportunities. There's going to be a cadence that do this. We need to celebrate. We need to find people. We need to grow their careers. Everybody deserves that. And so this is a huge part of why the framework is important. So with all that, why in the hell does that do that? I know everybody's standing, and I can tell we're getting to the okay part of this. I said a lot. Okay? What I really want to do is, I want to be respectful of time, but I'd love to hear from you guys. Because in the last 6 months, I haven't a lot. And that's mine because I was out goofing off. But I would like to hear from you guys. What do you guys think? What are your questions? What do you want to talk about? Who's not chicken enough to ask? Okay, that's not shocking. Shocking. No. No. I think everybody needs to get over. So the question was, so I appreciate that. So was that the question?
Well, the question was,
or is that a statement?
Response to the change in putting escrow back in the field, but if the board's not.
So the question was, it was understanding that Office 2.0 was the board's initiative to centralize things. The question was, what's the board's response to us not doing that? So let me be very, very clear. Our board is a governing board, okay? They do not do management. So I'd like everybody to understand that, and that's my fault that you don't. There is nothing that is dictated in programs or projects that the CEO and the executive team doesn't drive. Period, end. Okay? Now, the board can have metrics that they want to drive to, and they can have things that they want to drive to at a higher level. How we implement and how we do that is totally the CEO's decision. Okay? So let's get it out. So the Office 2.0 concept was the CEO and the executive team's program to help address areas that the board wanted focus on. Okay? So the board wanted to focus on cost and revenue and these kind of things. So the cost is happening, right? And none of those programs were driven. It was just the goal, right? So the goal was given. And so the ET made the decision to pull back for a couple reasons. One is we felt that the process wasn't embraced enough. We were making it a little too difficult. The other part is we wanted to make sure that the customer experience did not damage. And we had experiences where that was happening. And so the ET pulled back. The ET made the decision, and the ET will be responsible for that decision. Are there consequences in that? I don't know. There's consequences in everything we do, right? We felt at the time that was it, and we're running the company. So I want to be very clear, and I appreciate the question because I want us to be the leaders and stop the hallway stuff. The board is not driving any programs or projects in this company. They're helping us from a governance perspective. They're adding value from their insights, but they're not driving a program or project. Now, if we say we're going to do this program or project, they're looking for us to do it, right? And so that's how boards and management teams work, okay? And they are influential and they are extremely helpful from their outside knowledge, but when it gets to how to do it, they leave that to us. And the board has every right as every other board, right? If they don't feel like we're making that, you can read the front of the Wall Street Journal any day and you can see how that works. But we feel the ET felt this was the right thing to do given the feedback from the field. Okay? We will still have pressures. We will still feel all that. As a publicly traded company, you work in 90-day increments. And we had the good first 90 days, so I'm rolling with it. But I do appreciate the question because I did want to clarify that. Yeah.
Are we looking to rebuild the COO role, or is that going to be correct?
That's the COO role right now is under Matt's working with an external firm. I don't know where that is. I haven't talked to him about it, but we absolutely feel like that role is critical as we start to strategically look at how, as we get into the core title business with the segments we do, the strategy where the segments come together versus crash, and how do we get more of that, the scalability from a centralized, from the direct, from the commercial. So he's really looking at somebody who brings that value to the team, but we all agree that that position is needed. Okay, everybody who's not looking at the ground. Do we feel good about where we are? Okay, that's strong. What can I do to help? I can work from home? I've been home 3 days in the last 4 months. I'd love to. Okay. Right. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I would agree. So how do we help? I mean, so looking for ideas to make that better. I mean, honestly, I'm all about that. I think, having the conversations. Here's what I tell you. A lot of our projects, what I see, you're trying to do too much to solve a simpler problem. The question was, and if I paraphrase incorrectly, please, that we're working a lot of projects. It feels like, we're not slowing down. There's a lot of pressures, a lot of priorities. How can we, or there's not enough time just to kind of, take a breath and figure out, is this the right thing? I mean, paraphrasing it. First of all, I think you're correct. What I would challenge is let's go back and challenge ourselves. Are we going to add the revenue? Is this really going to do something for us, right? Because I believe, and this isn't a criticism against this team, this is a criticism against every IT team that I've ever had a pleasure of being a part of. We try to create way too much for the utilization of way too small. We try to figure out every permutation. We try to figure out every angle. We try to figure out every possibility. It's not going to be that way. And so if you're running into teams where you say, what are we really doing here? Have that conversation. Let's focus it up. I don't want you feeling like that, although I want you feeling challenged, right? Because I love the fact that we're in the middle of all this stuff, right? And I want you to be happy about that. I just don't want us to feel like there is no end. If there was a silver bullet of that, honestly, I wouldn't be at Stewart Title. I'd be an author or preaching some method. It's like estimating projects. If I could figure that one out. Yeah, exactly. I think here's what I tell you. You're still too downward directed as an organization. You still wait for somebody to tell you what to do. You still wait for direction. I'll tell you, you guys do. And for those of you who have ever had to work with me, there are no hierarchical lines. Everybody's equal. Let's go at it. Now, every manager in the room just cringed right now. But guys, I think we wait for too much direction. If it was your money, your space, your team, would you do it the same way? You're good at it. What do you do? You're good at it. What do you do?
Just keep moving forward, just try to,
What do you do?
what do I do?
I asked first.
He actually did that first. I mean, I do it through my people. I mean, that's what I encourage them to do is, and I try to build them up to, it's okay to make a mistake.
Right.
And I think that's our scare, and that's what I try to get rid
Right.
of is that, it's okay. You know what? As long as you're continuing to move forward and,
Right.
and you make a decision on the information you have in
Right.
front of you, and then you hurry up and accept, hey, you know what? That wasn't the right direction. Let's fix it and let's move on.
Right. So the question was, how do we enable and empower people to do that, to get more engaged? And part of the answer that we didn't even practice, and it's the answer I wanted is, honestly, if you truly believe by what you see, this is the right thing to do, and you go do it, and it's wrong, okay. This team is absolutely terrified to do that. And I say team in the big team. I'm not pointing to anybody. I sit in meetings that say, well, I need to go talk about the business requirement. No, you don't. You need to have a 10-minute phone call. Figure out what it is. So I would tell you to be more in the front, driving solutions, than worrying about telling you what the problems are. And I will tell you, for the people who have worked pretty close to me, that is how I work. If you want to come to me, tell me how you want to do it, because I really don't care what your problems are. I have plenty of my own. But if you have a great idea, man, I'll support it all day long. We didn't get here by me top-down driving, trust me. I'm the worst manager in the world. But I think we need to step back and my money, my team, every day. Because I think we can put the urgency in the solutions, but have less complex problems. How many of you last week, no show of hands, have said in something and just, you've watched, and this is my other pet peeve of Stewart, there are always 30 people in a room where 3 need to be. It's not just us, it's everybody. Have watched something spin way out of control, right? It's something simple and we went everywhere. Let's stop it. Make a note. Be present. Whatever you need to do. But I can't tell you how to do it because that's top down. I mean, I got a lot of faith in you guys. I got more faith than most of you have in yourselves. I have never had a phone call that said, whoa, you guys are moving too quick. Ever. In this company. I have never had that phone call. Make me have that phone call. There's the challenge. That's what I say. And I think simplicity, we do make things entirely too complicated. Simplicity and solutions. And I know those are trite and easy to say. I mean, I'll point to, we didn't solve the customer interaction in the field by processes, right? So our business model from our office to our customer is relationship-based. Pure and simple, right? Everything we do, watch. I mean, if an escrow officer leaves, those relationships go with them. Plain and simple. Right? Do you work your solutions that way with other associates? So when you sit in meetings and it's all turmoil, but you say, hey, how can I help? You get 2 or 3 things, right? But it's the relationship. People know Ben. People know Byron. People know Todd. People know Ethan. They know people. So I would tell you to make it simple or build the relationships. That's really hard to you kind of people, I know. It's uncomfortable. I get it. But it makes all the difference in the world. We've had offices that I've had the displeasure and then the pleasure. They'd all get up and walk out. I mean, they just walk out. All the business walks out. And I'll call a major realtor in the Phoenix market and go, hey, we're here. We're with you. We got your backs. It may be a little crazy, and you know what they'll tell me? They'll go, I've been with Stewart 25 years. I'm not leaving you. You guys are probably going through more than I am. Tell me how I can help you. Stunning. That is not the phone call I thought we were going to have. That's what those relationships do, and that's what made me kind of wake up to the fact that this isn't a transactional business. Right? So let me ask you this, and this is really bad. If you left Stewart, would the direct offices leave with you? Not that I want that, but that's what we ought to do, relationships. And I know that's the tough part. But you who have made the biggest difference, that's what we've done. Next question. Or theory, I guess it's not questions, we're theorizing. Yes, ma'am.
How do we improve the usability and knowledge of the solutions to the field?
How do we improve the usability and knowledge of the solutions to the field? Build solutions. So I honestly think that, I've been thinking about this, we need to figure out a way, I need to figure out a way, and the leadership need to figure out a way to get the solution builders to sit and watch people do their job. Okay? Now, easier said than done, because starting today to the end of the month, they wouldn't talk to you because they're busy. Start of the month, the business isn't that heavy, right? So we got to figure out a way to do that. But I think if you really sat down and watched what people do, I think you'd be stunned on how much little things would help. And so I believe that we need to figure out what those are and how do we target a couple of those, because that's the key difference. It's interesting. So Marty Albertson and I had a conversation in Dallas a month ago about an Encompass integration with AIM. And he told me the story, and he has a bank that he has known for 30 years, and they'd love to do more, but they're in Encompass. And I'm like, Marty, I know we have these integrations. And he gets down to it, and he draws it on, and he said, Brad, he said, we don't have the solution. They may be able to work, but I can't go in and sit with a loan officer and show them how to use the solution. Right? And I just had this unsettling moment that that's the gap. So I think a couple of the teammates got on with Marty, and they talked about it, and all of a sudden, okay, let's go solve it this way. I think we need those wins to show people how to do that. Now, my challenge to every one of you is, and I was going to have this in the managers meeting, when somebody says I need the business requirements, I stop listening. It cringes me. I abhor that process more than anything. Right? And it's not the person. I think the process is aged. And to me, I would rather have maybe a bomb guard or some kind of session with that person. Show me what you really want to do. Okay? I think that's the difference. You cannot put that in a document. I think our job at Stewart is architecture and integration. Solution architecture and integration. I think we need to have all these pieces, and we need to figure out how to put them together for solutions, architect them to a single structure, and be able to implement them in scaled nature. Right? That's what I think we should do as a goal for all of us. Boy, this is a melancholy group. What else? All right, we're getting back now. We got it.
So just to get back on the question, on the points talking about relationship building, how do we increase the way we communicate within ourselves? Aside going on from lunches and all that, how do we increase that level of relationship between us that can foster increase in productivity?
How do you build friends? I mean, the question was, how do we... Oh, you don't have any friends? Well, sorry. So the question was, how do we increase how we build relationships amongst ourselves, right? If we want to do it, we have to do it amongst ourselves, and how can we do that better, right? So I think I get jealous every time I come over here because all of you are right here for the most part, right? You're talking to like the most introverted person in the world. I stay home at night, so I don't know. I have 4 really good friends, and that's it. So I'm really not good at this. But what I tell you is force yourself into that, right? I mean, every day. So it's interesting. I learned from somebody. There's an executive team member who keeps a list of names. And this person calls 12 people every month that they've never talked to. And if they're in the office, makes 15 minutes and just goes and sees them. Right? There's different ways to do that. And I understand it because trust is, you build trust by, a multitude of shared experiences, right? And over shared experiences after you get it, you just got to hurry that process up. This office, if you can't meet people and build relationships in this office, there's counseling we may need, but you know what I mean, right? Get up, walk around, right? Ask other people for help. Do you know who the strongest assets are? So when I have a problem, I have a list of people. I know every person that's good at what I'm not. And I go ask them when I'm in a situation when I need something that I'm not good at, I go ask them. It builds over time. To answer your question, I don't have that answer. I think that's yours. I mean, you got all these people.
What I was actually saying is so that everybody could have an idea of what it really means. I don't really have a problem with walking to it.
Right.
I just try to buttress that so that we could all think.
There you go. Right. So the comment was that, you ask the question to make people think about how they're doing that every day. I think that's great. How many of you take, 30 minutes a week to think? I bet you there's somebody in your life that would question that. But I'm talking just think. Yes, ma'am. Dawn.
Well, I was just going to piggyback on one of your last comments, but I think all of us have to, assume the responsibility to stay connected in some fashion, and we need to leverage a lot of the tools that we do already have at this organization. And of course, one of our newest tools is Facebook Workplace environment.
She got paid.
But staying out there and knowing what's going on in the organization is important.
Yeah, so the comment was, it's all of our responsibilities to figure out how to stay involved, being part of the organization, ask questions. I mean, you guys, I answer everything you send in less than 24 hours. I haven't got a question from anybody in 6 months. I mean, I want to create and foster that. I mean, I'm good with all that. I don't have the answer. What I really want to challenge us to be is different. We have been, this is what I'm going to, and I know people are getting tired. This is what I want to leave on. What I want every one of you people to understand and be proud of is we have led Stewart in everything they've done, we've been first at. In the last 3 or 4 years, and since my existence, we've been first at it. Shared goals. You know where the CEO got the shared goals idea? Us. That one-page game plan? Us. The metrics? Us. Framework? Us. Consolidated organizations. 2 years ago, half this group hated the other half. Wouldn't talk to them. Now at least you stand in the same rooms. I don't know if we're talking yet, but we're at least in the same room. Be proud of that. You guys are in the front, right? You are, but what brings that is uncertainty. There are things we're doing that are uncertain. And my fault, I hate to lose. I do. I hate to lose, right? Even on security training. And I know. But I think I want you guys to take pride in, you guys are the jet setters, the trendsetters. Now let's do more of it. It's a tipping point. I didn't get to go help the West because we were behind. You guys did that. It's a long race. Please don't wear out on me, right? If you all get leave, take it, right? I can't make you do that. I mean, you've got to take care of yourselves. That's not a top-down directive. That's to you. You got to, at some point, you guys all got to own part of this. And I'm on board. But I think we got another gear in us. I really do. And I'm never going to stop pushing. I'm never going to stop pushing. Sorry, it's just not going to happen. Okay. So I'm going to leave it. I know people are tired. I know standing for an hour is not the most fun. So anyway, questions? I'll take them. Anything. If you want them one-on-one, please tell me you want them confidential, and I'll keep them between you and I. If you don't, if it's a good question, I'm probably going to publish it. I get in trouble. I don't do anything on workplace. If it's a really good question, I'm probably going to publish it. Or somebody is in my name. Anybody have an ask? Anybody, what can I do? I mean, honestly.
I got one question. So you talked about the West and how escrows is more going into like a sales type of side. So are we looking at more mobile tools that those salespeople can say use on site? We discuss different options as far as closing deals.
So there is a mobile tool that we actually have and everybody has, and they all want it. But what's interesting is we've never gained revenue when anybody uses that tool. It's a really interesting concept. And this is the one where I try to be picky on what we're going to do in this space, because if we're going to build it and you're not going to bring me anything, there are some things that we do have that we're looking at. I will tell you in the next 30 days, I'm hoping to bring you some of that stuff. I really am. I do believe there's I have a vision. My vision really is there's a platform out there that we can connect that I think if we could tell customers where their orders are via device, I think that's better than any sales tool, because I think that is a sales tool, especially to the newer generation buyers that want to know where that is, right? Yeah, right. Something that says you're still ready to close the 30th of May, right? Or, hey, remember to bring your driver's license, something like that. I believe we're going to get closer to this. Okay? The sales tools that are brought to me, I've seen them. We actually have a couple. Everybody swears to them, and then when I want the revenue, it's not as good a conversation. What I'm going to fend off is building a fourth or fifth version of something we already have, because we actually have those tools right now that are underutilized. So I hear you. I think the other part of this is we're at the point of inflection point that I think this market is going to bifurcate itself, and the new buyer is also going to be a new agent personality, right? And so what we always have to do is we have to balance the traditional legacy agent thought process versus new, so we don't lose their revenue, right? Because they don't want to change, because that relationship is important. So hang tight with me, but I do think that we're pretty close. Okay. I do appreciate your time. I'm glad to be back. Look forward to more interactions. I do appreciate what everybody does. Trust me, and the field does. And you don't hear it. I get it. I will make them more. But I do have much better relationships, and I'm taking away, you guys need to see how solutions, you need to see how things could help the field. I think we need to focus on that a little bit. All right. I appreciate your time. Have a great day. Thank you, and a great weekend.